who had to witness on video the murder of their father. Uh, Unlike, dare I say, anyone else out here today, they had to go through and endure something over the last 2 hours that not many of us can ever imagine. And so for that, my prayers and my heart go out to both of them and their family and this community for the loss of Andrew Brown Jr. I actually want to say thank you to everyone who made this viewing possible. I know that Your Honor stated that we had 10 days to view it, but they worked diligently to allow us to see these videos, 20 minutes of what I believe to be 2 minutes, but we feel it, 2 hours, excuse me, but we feel as if it tells the entire story of what happened that day with Andrew Brown Jr. A question was asked of me, I believe, by Brian Todd as I was walking in, and he asked me, what do we expect to see? I said, we anticipate seeing an unjustified killing. What we saw on that video was an unjustified killing. What we saw on that video is something that we believe also denotes further investigation and does have some criminal liability. The way we're going to do this today is I want to bring both Mr. Lynch and Ms. Lassiter up to talk about what he was able to see on the video. We'll then have words from the family. Then we'll have words from Mr. Daniels. And then I'll come back up and we'll take as many questions as we possibly can to get these young men back home and on their way. So with that, I want to pass it to a great lawyer who we brought on for this purpose, who's done an amazing job. And I want everyone who's under the sound of my voice to know how good both of these lawyers are and how we stand with them in their truth, particularly Ms. Lassiter having to undergo some of the words that have been coming her way.
Good afternoon. My name is Chance Lynch. I am the managing partner at Lynch Law. I am a former assistant district attorney, criminal defense attorney, civil rights attorney. Let me say first the honor and privilege it is to serve with these colleagues and with this legal team to assist them. And I'm grateful for the privilege to be able to serve alongside them as we serve this family. Today, I was able to sit with two of Mr. Brown's sons as we watch several videos. We were able to see 6 videos today, and I'm grateful for the kindness and the hospitality that the Sheriff's Office has shown during our tenure here while viewing these videos. The first video that we were able to see did not have any audio. It was the dash cam. The last 5 were all body cams where we were able to hear the words spoken, and we were able to see some critical footage that I think yields truth, transparency to what we've all thought we would see from the beginning. In fact, what I saw today absolutely corroborates what Attorney Lassiter shared with us when she was only able to see 20 seconds. Now, I'm not sure what footage the district attorney has seen. I can only go based off of what he has said and what he has insinuated. Well, we have a saying where I'm from. And that saying is, I was born at night, but not last night. All right. And so we were able to see Mr. Brown sitting in his vehicle as he was ambushed and as the sheriff's office made their way his residence. Appearing to be surprised, it appears that he was possibly on the phone. At all times, his hands were visible. At all times, you could see that he was not a threat. There was a shot fired. When the shot was fired, he put the car in reverse, putting several feet, if not yards, away from the police who were there. He turned his wheel to the left to turn it away from the law enforcement officers. At no point did we ever see any police officers behind his vehicle. At no point did we ever see Mr. Brown make contact with law enforcement. We were able to see where they possibly reached out to make contact to him, but we did not see any actions on Mr. Brown's part where he made contact with them or tried to go in their direction. In fact, he did just the opposite. While there was a group of law enforcement that were in front of him, he went the opposite direction. As he turned to the left to go across his yard, um, a second shot was fired. And as he began to accelerate and increase his speed, um, tracks of mud began to appear in the yard. And when his car was clearly across the yard, at all times, what we saw were police officers standing on the pavement unloading their weapons. There were so many shots that we found difficulty in counting the number of shots that his vehicle received. At some point, there was a final shot where it appeared that at that final shot, Mr. Brown lost control. There was a curve in the yard. At that point, as you may know, his car went down the ditch across the street and collided with a tree. When they went to the vehicle, we were able to see when they approached the vehicle, we counted approximately 6, if not more, bullet holes in the side of his car, in the passenger side of his car. Windows were shattered. We were able to see one shot in the front windshield, and we were able to see a number of shots, approximately 6 at least, in the back windshield. At no point, let me be very clear, at no point did we see Mr. Brown pose a threat to the law enforcement officers that were there. My friends, I would suggest to you that it was absolutely and unequivocally unjustified. When they opened the door, there were no weapons found. They pulled his body out of the car, laid him face first flat on the ground. As you could see, the bullet wound that went into the back of his head, and then they began to search his home. And so I can't speak on what everybody else saw. I don't know what video that they saw, but I can tell you that what Attorney Lassiter said was exactly what we saw today.
True. All right.
And so I said this, and as I close my comments, I said this at the NAACP rally on last weekend. I said something to the effect of, it's a new day in Elizabeth City. And so with this being said, and with us being able to see that this has come to the light, I'm confident that our legal team is more committed now to pursue justice, to make sure that the memory and the legacy of Andrew Brown lives, because what we saw today was unconstitutional and it was not justifiable.
I'm not going to stay before you guys long. Thank you all for listening. I've been told my voice is soft, so I need to speak up a little bit. Again, let's be clear. This was an unjustifiable shooting. I've said it before, and I'm standing here, standing by my word, as I said a couple of days ago and outside those court steps. We will seek justice for Andrew Brown Jr. Thank you.
This is his oldest son, Khalil Furby.
The video I seen last week is pretty much the same as what I seen today. Just a few more details, but he wasn't in the wrong at all. What's in the light, what's in the dark gonna come to the light. You know what I'm saying? And it's gonna be like that. He gonna get his justice because it won't even right.
Well, we'll ask questions in a second.
I'm gonna make this real brief. My father did not deserve to die at all. He did not deserve to get killed in any way, shape, or form. He did not pose any threat at all. come court, there's no way that this could be justified. There's no way possible. And that's all I gotta say.
Thank you. On behalf of the legal team, myself, Bakari Sellers, and Benjamin Crump, Chantel Lasser, our new addition, Chance Lynch, as well as Wayne Kendall. I am confused. I was teaching my daughter a new word, convoluted, hard for something to explain. And what I need explaining today is why you have killers in Pasquotank County that's not in the jail today. All right? Yeah. So we had peaceful protests, peaceful demonstrations. Now we know what they was trying to hide. Now we know why they didn't want to release the tape. Now we know why they still don't want to release the whole tape. What was described by Chance Lynch, Chantel Lasser, is a massacre. You should be outraged. You should be outraged that in 2021, that a man can be killed, gunned down by a firing squad. Now I'll be damned just because they wear a shield, a badge, that the killer should still walk free. If it was you, myself, we would probably be in an orange jumpsuit over here waiting for arraignment. The tune and the tone, transparency, and now we want accountability. And we want justice. And what justice is today, or what we know, what they've been behind, what Chantel and Khalil saw a couple of weeks ago, last week, arrest, prosecution, conviction, and a long prison sentence. A long prison sentence. Somebody say throw away the key. Lying. Now, somebody asked me today, how you feel? Hold on 1 second. Wait 1 second. Somebody asked me today, how you feel? I am mad as hell. I am mad that a man, a father, can be executed. All this marching, everything we went through. Now, I'm not trying to say that one thing is worse than the other one, but it is clear when you got a man that's killed on tape, executed, murdered, the killer should be brought to justice. And they will be. They will be. With that being said, I'm going to open up for questions, brief questions. We got a lot going on, so please be very respectful for our time. Y'all, wait. Who are you with? Okay. There's no indication. There's no indication this time that any charges will be filed at this time. So no, not to us.
Let me also say one thing here that the family is very aware of. There is a huge question about whether or not this family can get justice the way this system is set up here today. We have asked, last Wednesday, we sent a letter. It was certified, so I know he received it. The district attorney here to recuse himself from this matter. We believe that it's an incestuous relationship between the district attorney and law enforcement. He works every single day with these officers. He's worked for years prosecuting cases with these officers, and his office is literally in the sheriff's department.
That's right.
We do not believe that we will have a fair set of eyes reviewing this going forward. And I know that people are looking for something to ask for, and we're asking that the community join us in our request, because the way that the law is set up in North Carolina, the only person who can remove a case is the district attorney himself. And so we're asking him to recuse himself so this family can have justice. Yes.
Sit at a desk? Was it on a monitor? Did they rewind it? Could you watch it the first time it went by? Did they repeat it? describe what happened?
Yes, because you're watching.
Yes, I could.
He said yes, he could rewind it and look at it over and over again. So yes, the answer is yes.
What was that like for you in your heart?
What you mean?
Allow me to say this and to reiterate what Bakari just said. This district attorney got up before the courts and made a statement that not until Andrew Brown came forward and made contact, then the shooting started. Look at the video, look at recording. That is inconsistent of what we saw in this video. Ms. Lynch, she said what happened right before the shot was fired.
The first shot was fired, and after the shot, well, let me back up. When they arrived on the scene, all of them were yelling different things. Some of them were saying, "Show your hands." Another was saying, "Get out." It was so much yelling that we could barely understand what they were saying. So I can imagine what was going through Mr. Brown's mind with him having to sit there and hear this, not knowing what to do. Even with both hands being shown at all times, when the first shot fired, he was sitting in his car and then he began to back up. At no time did we see him go towards a sheriff deputy at any time. The first shot was fired, and what we saw was after it was fired, he began to back up because he wanted to get out of there.
He was trying to save his life.
Else.
He was trying to save his life.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Yes, you can see both hands. We could clearly see both hands.
Can you see what provoked the shot? The first shot?
Could we see?
What provoked him to shoot the first one?
I have all I can say is this. I didn't see Mr. Brown make any movements or actions that would warrant law enforcement to fire to protect themselves or anyone else.
Let me
Yeah,
say
question.
something
Right,
real quick. Can I say something real quick? Because I just want to, I think we need to level set here for one moment. You know, for far too long in this country, we've become kind of used to this cycle and black bodies being in the street. And I don't think that we truly understand the pain that these young men are going through. And I just want us all to take a step back and take a breath and understand that this is not just another case for them. We do this work all the time. We fly around from city to city and cover these cases all across the country and tell me how you feel. What was your stomach like? Did you sleep last night? But for them, this is a pain that induces anger, outrage, disbelief, shock. This is pain for this community. This is pain for black men and women all across the country. So let's level set for a minute and understand that this is not just another case. This is not just another body. This is somebody who was a father, somebody who was a brother and a nephew. And I think we just have to pause for a moment and realize that. Go ahead.
Andrew Womble gave me a statement saying that he's not basically going to recuse himself. He's confident in his ability to handle this.
How did he get the statement?
So what is your next step to get relief for this family?
I don't know how you, I mean, I sent the letter.
He haven't said anything to us.
I mean, I sent it to him certified. I mean, the courtesy would be to call or email or write another letter.
That's even more reason why he should recuse himself. He's willing to talk to the press and not the attorneys.
That I don't, you breaking news to me. I can't even, thank you. The fact, so let me be extremely clear. The only people in this matter who would be disadvantaged if he stays on this case are our clients, this family. If Andrew Womble was to recuse himself, there would be no prejudice to the officers in this case. In fact, we would be sure that justice could be carried out without the taint of impropriety. The fact that he will not do that shows that he has some other interest. And whatever that interest is, I do not know, and I'm not here to impugn that character or whatever that interest may be. But my number is clearly on the letter, and I would appreciate the common courtesy of a legal professional of either emailing us back or calling us with that response that he gave you.
All right, a couple more questions.
Was the car marches going to continue to be peaceful?
Yes, but the marches are going to be peaceful. That nobody wants to tear up the town that they live in, but they're going to be peaceful and they're going to be loud. But this also is not the responsibility of this family, right? So if you want peace, go out here and give us justice.
All right.
his question was the car moving when the first shot was fired? What we saw, we could not see of all the videos, the car not moving. It did not move until that first shot.
They were not under threat by a moving car.
No, in fact, if the car was moving, it was moving away from them. It was never moving towards them for them to fire that first shot. So even with the footage, because you've got to remember, we've got a dozen law enforcement officers coming up with assault rifles, and they're crowding around that car. The first shot is moved. The first shot is fired, and then you can see the car moving back after that.
In the red dress right here.
Yes.
We were told earlier that
Tell us who you're with again.
shared with Channel 12.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
We were told earlier that you guys were going to see 20 minutes and it was taken down to 16. I don't know if there was a clarification with that, or if you feel like some more things were cut out
Well,
before this meeting.
Well, there were several minutes to each video that added up. I don't know. I didn't add up every second and determine the exact amount of time. I will tell you my two things about that is that it was redacted. It was not all raw footage. Their faces were blurred out. You could not see their faces. Even if they would have turned, it was blurred out. We were able to see their weapons. But just in all my years of criminal defense and being an assistant district attorney, I have never in my life seen where the defendant gets to choose what evidence they show to the world.
Hey, last question right here.
Oh, and then we got this young lady to your right, to your left too. We'll get you right.
The parts of the videos that weren't shown, was that after
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
the parts of the video that were held back 2 hours and you guys saw about 20 minutes? Did that appear to you to be after everything happened, the kind of what happened, the body camera?
I'm not sure. I would be speculating. I'm not sure what they kept from us.
What's your question?
Since he hasn't responded to your recusal, the DA, what are the next steps legally that you'll take? What are the next steps there?
You know, unfortunately in North Carolina, and I want to also give a thanks to many members of the North Carolina State Legislature. When we were here a few weeks ago, his family said that they wanted Andrew Brown's name to live on. Right now, the North Carolina State Legislature is examining changes to the body camera law as we speak, in a bipartisan effort. And that wouldn't happen but for Andrew Brown. And so we're already making a lot of the changes we want to see. What we have learned, though, is that obstruction of justice is basically codified here in North Carolina. And so because we really don't have many options other than to take the deck as it's given to us, we're going to raise a lot of hell and a lot of noise about the fact that Womble wants to stay on this case. And if he chooses to stay on this case, we're going to ask him to make sure that he follows through with prosecuting the officers that murdered Andrew Brown. Unfortunately, we don't have many options, but we're going to go out here and continue to raise our voices. We're going to go out here and continue to fight. And many of the changes that we've seen, whether or not it's this Body Camera Act or the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, we're going to continue to push forward to make these changes on behalf of the family of Andrew Brown Jr. We are, this family's getting out of here. We're going to ask that you at least give them the opportunity without yelling questions at them. Just yell questions at the lawyers. They're used to it. They can take it. Allow Khalil and Gerard and their mother and aunts to please get out of here if we can.
Oh, we're done.
That's not accurate.
That's not accurate. Deputy touched the car.
In your personal opinion,
America don't run, cause cops kill.